working in. Lastly, we're considering company valuations now, and I was speaking to an analyst who covers both of these stocks, and they've got positions in both of them at this stage of the game, highlighting that they see both Tsogo Sun and Sun International undervalued, 20% undervalued over at RCM.
That's interesting. And we have a different view than RCM. I think that when we look at these stocks, we start at the top line, the revenue line. And I've alluded to the challenges that these companies have in terms of growing their revenue at above inflation. And because of the fact they don't have pricing power, it's a volume game. We are not in that camp that says that they are just lagging the retail sales, and when disposable income increases, which you have seen in retail sales and how well the retail stocks have done, it means that it's coming to gaming next. We don't believe that is the case. We think that these companies on their own merits will struggle to grow revenue with a high fixed cost base that's increasing because of electricity rates and taxes. That means that profitability will increase at a decent rate, but not as much as certain others are expecting, and therefore we think more that they're closer to fairly priced than severely underpriced.
So for the most part, with profitability still below normal, Paul, you've got consensus seeming to be that the markets want to see the earnings coming through first before they're happy with them.
Yeah, but both of them are quite interesting stories, because Sun International, on the one hand, under David Coutts-Trott, everybody sort of ignored it, and it felt a little bit like a car that was sort of stumbling along on two cylinders. But it's kind of got its mojo back now. I think Graham Stevens is a much more compelling CEO, and you've seen that. It now delivered headline earnings that were larger, and things seem to be happening there. So I think there's a bit of a narrative there about, something fresh, kind of making a bit of a charge. Tsogo Sun was the reverse, because it was the old Gold Reef listed entity into which they put all of these enormous assets that SAB Miller owned. So suddenly it was a lot larger, and it happened the same way many of these restructuring stories is that people took a while to realize, hey, this thing's got much bigger earnings base than we were previously giving it credit for. So that's why it's run from 15 to, like 27 Rand a share. Market cap has rocketed up to 30 billion. So it's developed a real momentum. The question, I guess, now is it fully priced? Can it still run some more? But I think there's a little bit of a sense on both of them that they're beginning to bubble, and that I think they're going to attract more interest. So I quite like both of them.
But there seems to be quite a bit more potential for a turnaround when it comes to Sun International if they start reviving those older assets and taking a closer look at their strategy, how they're pursuing growth in territories outside of South Africa as well. Yes,
I agree. And that's why they are expending or investing more money in Panama with that recent development there. Also, it's a more highly leveraged company. So when you talk about a turnaround, they only need a little bit of an improvement in the operating performance of the company. And through the financial leverage, because of the high debt levels that they took on in 2007, it means you'll get an increase in the bottom line quite substantially more than the increase in the operating earnings. So the high debt levels of Sun International meant that they couldn't be as dynamic as Tsogo Sun in the last 4 or 5 years. But at this point in time, if we do get a recovery, you should see higher leverage in Sun International, which would translate into higher earnings per share growth.
How confident are you in the new man at the helm of Sun International?
He's got a lot of experience in the gaming industry. They looked far and wide. They considered internal and external candidates for the position. So when it comes to the management of both these companies, I don't think there are question marks on that regard. For me, it comes down to valuations, top line growth, and then the capital structure of the two companies. And I think if I look at all those issues and the historical issues of Sun International, I slightly prefer Tsogo Sun to Sun International.